Welcome to Da Vinci's Discourse, where the minds of today's most innovative entrepreneurs are unveiled and explored. And my name is Campbell, your guide on this journey into the depths of the entrepreneurial psyche. So sit back, relax, and get ready to dive into the minds of the greats. This is Da Vinci's Discourse. So Tom, brother, it's awesome to have you here, man. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? If somebody were to ask who you are, this is what I want you to answer, because this is an interesting question to me. If somebody were to ask who you are, how would you answer it?
I'm the hardest working guy that will do anything on earth to avoid working for a living. Figure that out, right? See, I've never had a job. I've always had my own business for long before you were born. Now 47 years in formal business, and not counting 10 years old doing side hustles. And I sold my first automobile when I was 15 years old, and I didn't even have a learner's permit to drive. So always been entrepreneurial my entire life.
Did you flip it? Was that a flip at 15?
I bought a car for $15 at an auction because nobody wanted it.
Okay.
And I fixed it up and sold it for $220, and I thought I was rich. This is in the 70s. Right?
Oh,
so,
shit. Wow.
Long time
Okay.
ago.
Always
Yeah.
entrepreneurial, dude. So what do you do now then? If somebody were to ask you, what do you do for a living now? What's your passion? What you up to?
Well, I help people learn how to make their websites make money instead of eat money.
Okay, I like it.
I've been selling on the commercial internet since there was a commercial internet in 1994. I was one of the original. I had a guy interviewing me one time. I'm pretty old, and he kept calling me the OG. And I thought, yeah, that's kind of rude. He's calling me an old guy all the time. But he said, no, no gangster.
Yep.
So yeah, before that, I was always entrepreneurial. I bought my first apartment building with no money down in 1975, roughly, and with nothing, had nothing. No, I'm not any kind of silver spoon kid that had lots of money behind him, and just always entrepreneurial. I actually owned 5 apartment buildings and a hotel before I graduated from college, starting with nothing.
Impressive, man. No
So,
shit.
Did you hear that?
No.
Listen. That's a Ka-Ching sound is my ringtone. One of my nicknames is the King of Ka-Ching, because when an order comes in, my email goes Ka-Ching, Ka-Ching, Ka-Ching. One of my students nicknamed me King of Ka-Ching. So basically, always entrepreneurial. No lawsuits, nobody chasing me around, no high pressure sales. I actually wrote a book called The One Sentence Business Plan. And it took me 60, 70 pages, 8.5 by 11, to tell people how to do a one sentence business. So the one sentence is, I create quality product. I mean, if every business on earth just lived like this, if there was IBM or giant companies that spend millions of dollars on their quote mission statement that nobody knows about except them, I create quality products at a reasonable price and that people actually want, and I service them after the sale. That's it. That's what I've been doing since I'm 10 years old in all of my businesses. Reasonable products that people want, quality, always quality, and then I service them after the sale. So that's my simple business plan that's made me, I hit multi-millionaire status 24 years ago.
I love it, man. I especially love it. What's up?
Another one of my nicknames is the multi-millionaire next door, because I just came from a small town. Actually, my town still is 500 people, and we lived in the suburbs. So it's totally in the sticks. And your handshake meant something. I just went back there recently. I had some property. We had to demolish a building. All the guys helping me, hard workers, just total. You could depend on them. But it's somewhat hard to find that nowadays in other places.
Yeah, no kidding, eh? I mean, I grew up in a small town too. And so I saw what I didn't want and then what I wanted, and then I slowly made my way towards it, and still am, I think we always are. One of
I
the things
know.
that I like about your one sentence business plan is the last part, continue servicing them. Whereas most people, it's like the crack cocaine of marketing is like new client, new client, new client. And you talk
Yeah.
about, really helping them long term and really getting the long term revenue from them, which I think is a lot easier than always new.
I was
Let's,
on a webinar not too long ago, and just for the heck of it, I said, "Hey, I don't know how many people were on, a lot of people," and I said, "Hey, how long have you been doing business with me? Put it in the chat." Some of them were 24 years. Right? So,
yeah, are you kidding
so,
me? Holy
so
shit.
you could be ripping people off. They won't deal with you for 24 minutes, but that recurring revenue, it's so much better to get revenue from people that you didn't have to recruit again. See, everybody else wants that, find a new thing, create a new thing. That's another thing. People keep creating new products rather than maximizing the income from products that they create, because you can just put it out in different formats. I've written 25 books, but the books are on audio and video and consultations on the same topic. See, the amount of profits you get from any particular piece of intellectual property depends in large part on the format. So for
Yeah.
instance, this Wake 'em Up book, this is one of my, premier books. It's on business presentations. So it started out as a 5-page flyer when I was speaking years ago for $5. And then I created all those little flyers and made the book. It sells for $24. The equivalent of 1/12 of this book um, in audio sells for $89.95. This is
Yeah.
all US dollars. And that's a 43 and a half time multiplier of the value of that information. Put it on video and
Video
throw in a
is
couple
2 grand all of a
consultations.
sudden. Yeah.
Over $1,000. So you
Yeah.
see, so the format has something to do with it, and also the titling of your things can change the amount of money you get. For instance, if you had a time management product, just general time management, $20. All right. But if you had time management for endodontists who do root canals, dentists, right? Each one of those um, root canals is worth $1,000. So if they could do 5 more a week, that's $250,000 a year they made because they handled their scheduling better. So you could take your basic time management and tweak it 15 to 20% for endodontists,
Yeah.
charge $500 or $1,000 for it. And if the endodontist is looking at your basic crap time management for $20 or your time management for endodontists for 497, they're going to buy that one. And then you could take 15% and make it for attorneys and
Yeah.
make it
Yeah.
for accountants. See, so titling has a lot to do with the amount of money you make too. So
Yeah, right. And picking that niche, right? And going for somebody who's going to be the one to be happy to pay you money and then won't be a pain in the ass once they do pay you money, which you got to be careful
yeah,
with, right?
exactly.
We
Yeah,
all
and
have
then
some
they
nightmare
see the
clients, so you got to filter
value.
those fuckers out. One of the
Hey,
things that,
wait a
go
minute.
ahead,
You're in Montreal, right?
yeah.
Okay, because I spoke in Montreal one time early in my career, and I got slapped in the face by a girl that and I was trying. Nobody will tell me exactly what I said. I always try to do something in the language just to show that I care and I'm trying. Not that I'm any good at it, but I was trying to say thank you very much, like merci beaucoup, right? Or beaucoup. But I said something like merci beaucoup. And it was something like "thank you for your nice ass" or something. I don't
Uh-huh.
do you speak French?
A little bit, not enough to know what the hell you're
Oh,
talking about with
okay.
the book
So you
cues.
could just Google this.
But yeah, dude, I gotta be careful up here for sure. Yeah, it's a problem for me actually. I'm up in Quebec City right now, and nobody speaks English, so I gotta.
Oh,
It's like
wow.
trying to deal with mechanics and all kinds of things. Like Jesus Christ,
And French, I don't know about Quebec, but France, they don't really like you trying to speak their language that way. They don't.
Yeah, no, here it's totally different. They
Yeah.
want you to try at least. Yeah. France is like you speak French, especially in Paris, and they're like, oh, so the directions are over here in English, right? Okay. But dude, one of the things that you said to me first was that you help people make money from their websites. So I want to dive into that a little bit. What's the thing that comes to your mind when it comes to a website that makes money as opposed to one that doesn't? What are some differentiations?
Well, people get their ego tied up in all kinds of things, and they want it to look pretty, and so they hire. What I actually own the website killyourwebdesigner.com. All right, I haven't developed it, but I get so many horror stories of people that hired a web designer, and you can swing a dead cat and run into a web designer who's an out of work graphic artist and has no clue of the things that actually make the site make money and the things that will get you killed in search engine positioning and all those other things. They make it look pretty, and the person buying it for overpriced, I might add, $5,000 to $10,000 when we make world-class websites for $150. But they overpay, and it's beautiful, and they're all happy, but it doesn't have the elements necessary to promote their business. So they get their ego tied up. Oh, my web designer is wonderful. Look how beautiful it is. All right,
Yeah.
how much traffic do you have? Well, I don't know. How much money does it make? Well, nothing, but look how pretty it
That is
is.
pretty. Look at my logo,
Yeah,
man. It's all the colors
yeah.
match. They're all excited about it. It doesn't make any damn
So
money.
so the
Big
number
difference
one
between
thing, and
design
see,
and
I have a
copy.
podcast called Screw the Commute based on the fact that I've never had a job. But the number one episode and the number one thing in all the years I've been teaching this to people is they don't do keyword research. And so they get a what I call a CSI. And I don't know if it's big in Canada, but that was Crime Scene Investigation
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the big TV show. No, CSI to me is a crappy, stupid idea that people get, and they love it, but nobody else on earth wants it or is looking for it or cares about it. And
Yeah,
they build
common.
all this stuff, they get all the social media, and they build their website, and then they sit there and there's crickets chirping. So that's backwards. You're supposed to
Yeah.
do keyword research and get all these keywords that apply to your business, and then build your site and your social media around what people are actually looking for. So that's the number one mistake overall. Let me ask you, Kyle. We did a book one time on wedding receptions. How many keywords do you think and keyword phrases do you think came up with for wedding receptions? Just roughly, just take a wild guess.
Well, it depends on how many, if you're going down to what the tens and twenties as opposed to the millions of searches. I mean, there's a lot of them. But if you talk about the main primary ones, there's probably, I don't know, five or six or seven that are the top, the 20% that gets 80% of the searches.
Yeah, you're probably, well, I wouldn't say that, but there was 6,300 that we came up with before we quit. And the reason what you're saying is not exactly correct is because on a wedding reception, you have different parts of the wedding stuff that proves that that person is getting married. So let's take the wedding cake, for instance. Wedding cake icing, wedding cake bakery, how many wedding cake accessories, how to transport a wedding cake. All these phrases prove that somebody's getting married. Okay. And then you go to photography, you go to venues, you go to preachers, you go to wedding vows. All of those have significant numbers that might fall into that percentage that you just said. But any one of those tells you that person is getting married. And that's what I want to know, because then I can bombard them with stuff that they know I know that they're interested in because they're getting married. See? So keyword research, number one mistake overall on web development.
How do you do it? How do you do it specifically? Like if you were designing a website and you wanted to make sure it converted and sold as opposed to looking pretty, what's your first step? And how do you walk through that keyword
First step
research?
is any kind of keyword tool. There's loads of them out there, but I mean, Google Keyword Planner is the first place they usually start. It's free, and if you advertise a little bit, they give you more accurate numbers. You know, they give you ranges of numbers if you're just using the free tool. But even that's better than not doing it at all. And there's just loads of keyword tools, but that's the first place I start. And I make a big list. I put a spreadsheet on where the most popular ones are, but I don't always just go for the most popular ones. That's another mistake people make, because the most popular ones are the most competitive. So we do both top and bottom. We do what we call bottom feed, especially on new sites. So bottom feeding means you go to the lesser keywords that aren't as popular and you promote them and put them in your site all over the places they need to be so that you get some traction. Because if you just go immediately to the top most popular keywords, you'll be tripping over your beard before you ever get anywhere, because the competition is high, and the a brand new site is in what they call the Google sandbox, which is a mythical place that people like me know about, where nobody on earth is going to get a high ranking in the first 6 months, because Google and the other search engines don't trust you. They want to make sure you're legit and not just trying to scam. So so bottom feeding and top feeding at the same time, and then learning keyword placement. Most people, the first thing I do when I look at a site is I look at their title tag, it's called. And it's the top thing in the tabs. I don't know how familiar you are with this stuff, but
Oh yeah.
And it's usually the same exact thing that was WordPress puts in automatically, which is
Yeah.
kiss of death, because Google is saying, okay, you're an idiot. You're trying to tell me that I should give you a high ranking, and every page of your site is identical. So that's 2 seconds. I can tell if they got taken, because some web designer
Yeah.
didn't know this
Yeah.
and put a bunch of stupid stuff up there. And then people put their name up there. You can't find my name on any of my sites. And I'm pretty
I
damn
like
well
that.
known
I like
in this
that.
field.
Yeah.
But I don't, if you know me, you'll find me. Now you're a little tougher because your name is more standardized. Antion is a not very well known name, but Kyle Campbell, you could probably walk into the Senate and pretend to be one of the guys there. I was looking up your name. But I want people that never heard of me to find me. See, if you heard of me, you will find me. But I want all those millions of people, and
Yeah. I
I'm
get
not
what you
Tony
mean.
Robbins or
100%. Yeah.
anything, so that'd be different. But you want people that never heard of you. So that title tag is 70 to 90% of being found on the search engines. And to be honest with you, I was taught by the best of the best. Guess what his name was? Campbell. His name was Campbell back in the early days. And he could get all 10 for him and his clients on the first page of the search engines, and I could get 4 to 6 of my own sites on the page. And I was top of the search engines on major keywords for 15 years straight.
Wow. Hmm.
And I quit. It was just got too much noise, too many people, too many SEO people lying their ass off to people and
Yeah.
charging them, just flooding the market. So I just switched to all paid traffic, and I built and I spent my time. I heard some of your other guests talking about email in social media. Like, social media to me is a necessary evil. Okay. But
Yeah.
I've been around so long, Kyle. I saw the MySpace that, was the end all be all, and then poof, gone.
Yeah.
So when I saw Zuckerberg and Facebook telling you, get everybody to like your page and do all this, I knew eventually you're going to have to pay. So immediately I just started with all the social media, getting them the hell off of there onto my email list, which I have
Nice.
100,000 subscribers in a
Wow.
niche market.
Hmm.
And that's where, and all the money is made with email.
Oh
Don't let
yeah.
anybody, the only people
Oh
that
yeah.
dispute are the ones that sell social media stuff,
Yeah, true. Or branding, or even worse, it's like
Yeah,
the very specific kind of branding where they don't want it to be tracked. They don't want to even tell you how many readers it's getting. It's like, oh, but it's good for your brand. It's like, what?
exactly.
It's
Right.
not gonna do shit if nobody reads the damn thing. Why don't you be a little more specific? So
I
those
say
guys too.
you brand yourself into the poorhouse is what you do.
Well, that's what I'm
And
talking about. If you do it wrong, exactly. I mean, I look at branding and direct response as a sort of union that you can have together if you do it properly. But one of the things that comes to mind with the keyword research that you're talking about is not having words that attract freebie seekers, as opposed to
yeah,
people
that's
with money.
negative keyword. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So you could say like, oh, my free wedding reception ideas. You could rank high in that, but you're targeting people that are looking for something for free. And so they're not, by the search definition, buyers. Whereas if you look for wedding dresses under between $2,000 and $5,000, you know that they're spending at least $2,000 to buy something for their wedding, and therefore might be more inclined to buy something else for their wedding. So you can
Yeah. So
target the buyers within the
what
keywords.
you just outlined there is negative keywords. So if you're doing pay-per-click or any kind of advertising, I don't want my ad to show. So I put minus free, the minus
Yeah.
sign and free in there. And then anybody that puts the word free, the ad does not show because I got to pay either way if they click.
Yeah.
And then the other end of it, you said, what did you just say about the other end of that? Oh,
Wedding
the buying.
dresses between 2 and 5
Yeah,
grand. You're looking for the
that's called a
buying words.
buying keyword.
Yeah.
And and the keyword phrases is it's keywords and keyword phrases for those of you watching. So that would be like, where can I buy a wedding dress? Where can I buy, who sells protection
Yes.
dogs, which I have a side
Yes.
business. See, so those are called buying keywords. Again, it goes back to keywords because until they start injecting stuff into us, well, I guess the vaccine has done that, but until they start injecting, chips in us, the whole world, internet still works on words. And
Yeah.
so if you ignore this, God help you.
Even AI works on words. I mean, right now we don't know
Yeah.
where that's going to go, but right now it does. Okay, so one of the things we've tapped into is the keyword research, and then being able to have it so that it's in your header and your site, and so that the SEO is a little bit optimized. We've got into that a little bit. You said that you ranked the top keywords for 15 years.
15 years, top
What's
one,
something
two, or
that
three.
Right. So what's something that if I were to do, or somebody watching were to do with their site, would be able to dramatically increase their ranking and be able to start being seen as opposed to being
Forget it.
in the
Don't.
sandbox.
Don't.
Zero?
I
You got
quit.
nothing for me?
Remember, I
I
said
know
I
you
quit.
quit, but over those 15 years, what was the most impactful thing that you learned?
It was keyword. See, when I taught this over those years, besides doing it, things were very specific. We had percentage in the title tag. It was percentage of the keywords and where they're placed exactly in the title bar, because you could manipulate the search engines then. They were not as sophisticated. And we had keyword prominence on how high it was on the page, how many they were on the page, all of those things. Forget it. You're just wasting a lot of time now. You can go 6, 8 months to get a little bit of traction,
Yeah.
and then Google turns one little dial and then wave goodbye to you as you go into oblivion. That's why it's a waste of time. Now, I don't want you to shoot yourself in the foot by doing the stupid things in the title bar, and I want you to do keyword placement and everything. But guess what? After me teaching all this stuff and me learning all this stuff, very exact, Google came out and said, you know what? If your site is optimized too perfectly, we're not going to give you a high ranking because we know you're gaming the system. So it's all out the window. You have to change with the times. As old as I am, I still change with the times. And this is something that why it's going to paid traffic is you can immediately find if something's working. But you do have to obsess on it, because I made a mistake everything I'm telling you, Kyle, is because I screwed it up bad one time. So I put an ad in Google on a Friday, got too busy to follow it and obsess on it over the weekend. Monday morning, I owed Google $8,000.
What'd you get in return from it? No
Nothing,
test, nothing.
no-
Oh God.
nothing.
So
I mean,
how, so
little.
so when you talk about obsessing over it, then what are some of the things that you do to obsess over to make sure that shit
Obsessed
doesn't
means,
happen?
especially until you get really, really competent at paid traffic. Obsessing means making sure that you watch it every 15 minutes or so. And then if it's in the middle of the night, turn it off. Wait till the next day. The world's not going to come to an end, but it will if you end up $8,000. You can't afford it. Your history. So obsessing is checking it every 15 minutes and then learning how to pause an ad. This is another thing I screwed up royally one time. So I put in these bunch of ads, and then I'm trying to follow my own advice. I paused it. Come back next day, $300-400 in ads ran. And I call up and I'm mad. At that time, you could had a representative you could talk to.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I paused this thing. You know what he said? No, you didn't. You paused one of your ad groups. You didn't pause the campaign. See, there's three things. The campaign is the big umbrella.
Yeah.
Then it's ad groups, and then it's ads. So I paused one ad group thinking, oh, I'm good. I'll just check this tomorrow. And then I didn't pause the campaign. So all the other ad groups were running. So you must learn, if you're going to pause and obsess, how to pause the highest level. And if you're confused, you just want to stop everything and regroup. But all of that, Kyle, is better than 6 months of working on SEO and paying people that are screwing you over because they're promising you this and that. And then you're still losing after spending all that money 6 months later, and you lost 6 months. So this way, learn and paid traffic is better. And then again, concentrate on getting them the heck off of there onto an email list rather than trying to sell cold traffic instantly. I think early in your career, I think I heard you say you weren't really good at cold calling doctors or something.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Well,
And
nobody
then I had to
I mean,
learn,
hardly-
then I had to learn marketing real quick. Otherwise I couldn't eat. So that's when I got into marketing.
Well, there's another
cool.
thing so this is what you should do when you're getting into paid traffic. You have to understand the difference between warm traffic and medium traffic and cold traffic. So let's say you're going to put some ads in Facebook or something. God help you anyway. So nobody ever heard of you. So you don't try to go to sell them something directly. What you try to do is to get them to look at your stuff and get to know you a little bit. That's cold traffic.
Yeah.
And then that traffic, the people that respond to the ad are going to be on a list, an audience that's called. Then the next time you advertise to that list, those people heard of you. And then you can maybe get them to opt in for a freebie or something to move them along a little bit. And then you've got a list and another audience of the people that took that advantage. And now they've read something or watched a video of yours or something. Now they've heard your name. Then the next round, you can then you don't have to introduce yourself to them. You know that they downloaded one of your things, they've heard your name, and now you can offer them something. All right. So anybody that tries to go directly for the sale, I mean, you could accidentally happen, but you're probably going to lose your shirt.
Right. And you
then,
want to own that traffic, right? I mean, one of the things that used to work really well was the free plus shipping book funnel. And a lot of guys still do this.
I
But it's
still
starting,
do it, yeah.
right. But it's starting to work less and less because first of all, it's fucking bullshit. I mean, it's not free. You're paying something. And most of the time it's they want you to take the upsells. It's the whole point of the funnel, right? So
Exactly.
where I think the market's moving towards is more free up front and then being able to have a lot of rapport and authority and trust built up so that you can sell them a higher ticket product and perhaps be able to skip the $5 book, then the $97 and the $297. And perhaps with all that trust built up ahead of time, be able to jump them up to if it's sold on a webinar between $2,000 and $3,500 or to a 10 grand or more through phone sales. And they trust you, they like you. And one of the things I like to use as a lead magnet is a book for that reason, because it gives massive authority, author authority, right? We're kind of programmed as a society to trust authors. And so we can embed these advantages in the lead magnets we use. So not only are we getting them on our list, but we're embedding trust in them and associating our name with authority at the same time.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the podcast, and I want to let you know that I've got a free book that you can get if you want to tap into more of these resources. And you can get that for free at kylesbook.com. Back to the podcast.
What are some of the lead magnets that you use, and what do you want to say on that?
Well, yeah, and what I wanted to piggyback off what you just said is that's one thing to try. But what you have to do is test. Most people, if they made that funnel that you just talked about, and they're patting themselves on the back, oh, I just did it, and it didn't work. Well, funnels don't work. No,
yeah, right.
What works for your offer in front of people. So that's called split testing. So I can't tell you what's going to work best for you. I have a smart aleck answer when people ask me, well, which is better? Which headline is better? I say, you know what? you may rub me if you like, but I'm not a genie in a lamp. All right. I can't tell you what's best for your market. You
Something you can
have to
say to your
test.
girlfriend, maybe not
Yeah,
not a
right.
cold prospect. Oh man.
Yeah, so I've used all kinds of things. And I can't say any one has worked better than anything else overall my career, because for some offer, a video freebie worked better. For some offer, if it was real estate people, they're not going to sit down and watch a video. They're in the car all day long. So
Yeah.
an audio worked better. Even a PDF wouldn't work for them. They can't consume it. You want them to consume. That's an important term. If you give them something, you want them to consume it. If they never consume it, they're never going to go to the next step. And then PDFs have worked on bigger stuff, consultations. I'm one of the few people that my level that'll talk to anybody. And that's is also a good bonus. And it amazes me. I go to these speeches. I've done 3,000 speeches in 12 countries. And I always
Wow.
beat everybody to beat their pants off in back of the room sales, because they blow in like they're big divas. And I'm really important. I got to get on a plane, so you got to buy now. And then they blow out of there. And I'm just sitting back there laughing because I'm going to take all the money. Because I talk to people, I sit and talk to people. They don't even know who I am until I get on stage. I don't wear a name tag. And then I go blow them away, and then I hang out and talk to them. And then I come home with 100 grand, or as much as the highest is 275 grand in 90 minutes. All right. So a lot of the people won't do that. And so you have to do the split testing and find out what works for your market, and then give them what they need. Now, I was talking about consultations, adding consultations as bonuses. People won't do it. And I say, you are crazy, because if I had to give all the consultations I owe, I'd have to go hide out in Montreal or Mexico. Because the thing is, it adds a lot of value to the sale, but most people never call. Now,
Interesting.
if they could call 10 years later, I would take the call and help them. But most people don't call. So you can really get your value of your product with a consultation bonus, because people want to feel like somebody's going to take care of them. But a lot of them never call. So it's not my fault, because I'll take the call if they do. But you can really get the value of your offer way up by offering consultations.
Interesting. That's an interesting little nugget there. So let's say we're testing, we've got an offer that we want to sell on, let's say Facebook or Google ads or whatever. Side note, what's interesting is you can take people off of LinkedIn, which is where all the money is, because people on LinkedIn spend 19.3 times more money than people on Facebook do. You can get them off LinkedIn, tag them, get their email from there, or even just follow them around with Google ads once you've got the cookie on them. And so then you know that they're more likely to be a buyer because of the copy that you use in combination with the LinkedIn audience that you sourced it from. And you're able to source more likely so buyers, ideally. But anyways, when it comes down to testing an ad, what are some of the things that you initially test? And how many variations do you run?
Okay, yeah, I'll tell you that in a second. I just want to, while I'm thinking of it, remind people about Pinterest. Pinterest, if you have the right product, it's 80% female, and they spend 8 to 10 times the amount of money as a typical female on Facebook. So it's
Wow.
not the 19 times that you just mentioned, but it's still more significant if you have the right product. People go there for ideas and all kinds of stuff. Okay, so what was the question again? I forget.
What do you test first when you're
Oh,
testing ads
test.
initially? And then how many variants do you run?
Okay, this is kind of funny, because the guy that taught me this years and years ago was a really fanatic. He would test as far down as a drop shadow on the edge of his sales letter, and found significant changes in his sales letter. And also a big point here, Kyle, is you can't trust what you think. You
Oh
can
yeah,
never
no
trust it.
kidding.
You got to go with the numbers. So he had this sales letter that had this really nice testimonial, but it was down near the bottom of the sales letter. Really powerful, results-based testimonial. And he thought, if I move that up near the top, I'll bet that'll increase sales. He moved it up near the top, sales went down by 35%.
Crazy. Wow.
Only variable. See, I only check one variable. I'm not smart enough to do multivariate testing. This is one thing at a time. And so he moved it back down. Sales went back to normal. So you can't trust what you think. That's the first thing. But there's various things. We test headlines are a big thing. Subject lines are really important because if somebody doesn't open your email, doesn't matter what you did past that, right? You could have the best sales letter in the world, the best product, best price, everything. But if they don't open emails, so subject lines are about the most critical for email marketers that it could be, because it stops right there. Speaking of subject lines, keep them 50 characters or less, including spaces. The most important stuff, unless you're in an Arab country, which we aren't, is to the left. So if people, I only have 36 characters in my email client or reader that a subject, attributed to subject lines. So if the more important part of your subject line is over here, I'll never see it. It's truncated. Say, so keep that in mind. That's one of the most important piece of real estate ever on earth for internet marketers, is that subject line. So that's one. But anyway, with the sales letter, you got price. Headline
with
is
ads,
one
with ads, we'll get there. We'll start with the ads first. What do you test when you go about testing the ads, and then we can go kind of walk through the funnel and see your testing process throughout the whole process.
Oh, okay. Well, ads are the same thing. You're going to test the headline of the ad,
because then if they don't read the headline, they're not. Same with the subject line, right? That's what I thought of too.
Yeah.
Okay. So how many? Let's stick with the headline for a second. So what do you test with the headline, and how does that differ based on if it's a cold audience or if they somewhat know you? What do the headlines look like in either case? And then how many variants do you run?
Oh, well, one thing about me is I'm not an accountant. So if you get super specific for me, I won't be able to give you the answers that you're looking for. But one thing that I excel in is with digital products, you got 97% profit. So I don't feel like I'm a number cruncher person. That's not my.
Me neither, man. No.
But when you're with digital products, you can mess up. I mean, my whole career from the beginning, I was messing up terribly. But with digital stuff, I mean, there wasn't digital stuff when I first started, but at that time, anybody would sign up for anything because it was brand new stuff. But once I sold my first ebook, I think in the year 2000, and I had already been multi-millionaire from selling hard stuff for 6 years. So anyway, I'll just think up a bunch of headlines, and then in the ad, when you learn how to use the ad clients in Facebook and Google, and the one thing I hate about it is if you don't do it every day, as soon as you log in 3 days later, they move something, and they're always it's like it takes me longer than somebody that's running an agency and they're there every day tweaking stuff. So I just think up a bunch of headlines because I'm pretty good at copywriting. I've made $30-40 million on my own copy, not student copy, my copy. And so I just think up a bunch of headlines, and then I think up different offers. And those are the two main things that I do, the headline and the offer. And then there might be some tweaks depending on the target market. There might be some tweaks on the copy in between, but then I just do a bunch of them and then keep pausing the ones that aren't paying off. And that's where I'm obsessing. Still to this day, I'll obsess and stop the ones that are clearly dogs and aren't resonating. But it'll surprise the heck out of you, Kyle.
Yeah, no kidding.
The one that works, the ones that work and the ones that don't, you could have never guessed in a million years. It's just that market, that product, that offer, that service, whatever it is. And so you got to go through the process. And there's people that do it way better than me because they're number cruncher type people. I'm not. I'll throw a bunch of headlines, throw a bunch of different prices and offers, and then let it run. And then I'll just keep killing the ones that don't. And a lot of them. How much
money do you put into it before you kill it?
That depends quite a bit, but let's talk about budgets. Let me tell you about that. So I never start more than $5 a day for a budget, ever. But here's the mistake that people make, and how the underworld people that run these companies screw people that don't know any better. So let's say you put $5 a day budget in and things are going really good. And you think, oh man, this is great. I'm going to jack it up to $50 a day because I'm killing it $5 a day. And then you go apply for food stamps because they just took okay. Because here's what happens, and nobody's ever going to admit this. It's only guys like me that have been there the whole time that know this stuff. So your $5 a day, no professional is going to jump to $50 a day. Nobody that knows what they're doing. So they can tell instantly that you're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing. And so their $5 a day, they're putting you in the best possible return on investment places they have that they can figure out for you. And you get all excited, and then you jack it up to $50 a day, and then you go into the worst places on earth and they just take all your money. They know you're going to go broke. You're not doing $100,000 a day budget like a big company with professionals running it. So all the peons like us, they say, we'll just take millions of dollars from them because they're going to disappear, and there'll be 50 of them standing in line to give us some more money for free. And that's a pretty negative thing to say. But I mean, I've lived it and seen it for, hundreds of students over the years. So a budget, don't raise, if things are working, don't raise your budget more than 15, 20% after 2-3 days. Inch it up, because that's what professionals do. And so you look like a professional, and they think, oh, maybe you got a big budget, you're just testing this, and we can get big money out of you, so they won't screw you as bad. Now, like I said, could you find one executive at Facebook or Google that would, admit to this? No, they'll get
it goes
fired.
against their interest, man. Yeah, no kidding.
Exactly. See, so I never start more than $5 a day. Then I inch it up a little bit at a time, and I look like a professional, and I pause instantly the ones that are dogs, and sometimes they're all dogs, and then you got to start over. But that's what professionals do until they find the winners. Because the problem is people put 5 different ads in, and then they let them run, and they never know which one is making the money. So even if one of them was making money, 4 of them are losing money. So
without the proper tracking, they don't know which one. They leave all 5 running.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, that's the classic freaking throwing your face on a billboard sign and just hoping people call. You don't have a tracking mechanism in it. You don't know which sign's working.
Exactly. And so that just carries over into the actual ads. So it's not. There's better people you could get on here that could go super deep into this, but I have made a fortune in it by obsessing and using my 1-sentence business plan, paying attention to cold, medium, and warm traffic. So I'm not trying to do warm stuff to cold people, which is total loser. You just throw your money in the garbage that way. And made millions of dollars that way. I'm not saying it's easy. It's a lot of work still, but you keep your costs low, and you pay attention, and you cut the losers and keep the winners. If you can't find a winner, you keep trying until you find a winner. In fact, I had a eulogy book, one of my books on how to do a thing at a funeral. And it was a month worth of trying, and it was not, I couldn't get it profitable. And I wish I could remember what I had done, because this was many years ago. And then I made one tweak, and it went to $42,000 a year for 9 years straight on one ebook that I wrote, in no time at all. So, and then I did wedding speeches and wedding toasts, and they went to $72,000 a year for 9 years straight, all with pay-per-click. But then once the pay-per-click got out of sight and too many competitors, then I, moved to something else, so it's keep your costs low, pay attention to what's going on. And if it's digital, you can make mistakes, you don't have to, and not screw up too bad.
Right. Okay. So, dude, I love that. So you start with the headline, and then you move into the offer. And the offer, I suppose, would be a lead magnet, so that you can get them on your list. So that way, then you can start selling things down the line.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not even an opt-in for the cold traffic. See, because I want to keep the bar low where they can get to know me and I give them something valuable, which they don't even have to opt in. Sometimes the ad says that no opt-in required. Here, catch this thing that I
Right.
did.
Okay. And then
And
you just
also,
retarget them with Facebook or whatever ad platform you're using, plus cookies, maybe, right?
well, also, see, if you keep, you get cheaper ad prices, the more clicks you get, so they reward you with cheaper per click, the more clicks you get. And they also reward you if you keep them on the platform that you're at.
Hmm.
See, if I send them off of Facebook, the ad's going to be more expensive. If I
I
keep
see
them on
what you mean.
Facebook,
Yeah,
see what I
right.
mean?
Yeah.
Then they're rewarding me because they want people on there longer to sell them more advertising. That's the
Yeah.
whole bottom line of all these places. Um, so the first one might not even ask for an opt-in, but my goal is an opt-in because I want to get them the hell off of there onto my email list that I control. That's the whole thing.
So you're talking about not taking them off the platform to begin with. What are some of the things that you offer so that you have them so you can track and then offer something off the platform? But
Oh,
what's
well,
just the
anything, a
initial
video.
the initial contact? What are you offering and running
Yeah, I
ads to?
might say, hey, here's a post I just did on the top 15 mistakes people make on their websites. Or here's a video I did on QR codes. The new QR codes are coming out circular, so it's prettier. Something, anything that's of interest to that market. They don't have to opt in. They're staying on the platform where they're comfortable. I want them comfortable around me when they hear my
Hmm.
name, my stuff,
Hmm.
and so they come over and say, "Damn, those 15 tips, we're doing 16 of them." Yeah, so so they're like, this guy's good, and they had
Hmm.
no opt-in, no nothing. No, they stayed on their platform. So next time they hear from me, that's going to be, I can move it up a little bit to maybe go for an opt-in or something like that. So
Right. Yeah, you're associating yourself with value. When they hear your name, they
exactly.
think value. And then at the same time, you're building trust because you didn't ask for anything. You're just giving, giving, giving. And then when it comes down to it, they have the opportunity to buy and get more because they've seen how much they can get for free. Imagine if they paid for what this guy can do for me. And then that's when you start to get buyers. What have been the top selling products that you've had over the years? And then how do you leverage that today?
Well, the one of the biggest sellers that I can recall was it was, remember I told you about how you take information and change it
Yeah.
into different formats? So the Wake 'em Up video professional speaking system. See, I've taught more professional speakers than anybody living and made Fortune top 1% of speakers anywhere. Um, so that thing was a little over anywhere for, depending on if you finance it, it was like 12 or 1300, or if you paid cash, it was 997. So back, oh geez, came out in like 96 and was selling 30 copies a month back in 1996, just that one product.
Hmm.
And so again, I'd throw in consultations with it, but it was so voluminous. I said, make sure you go through the system and then you'll be able to take the consultations more seriously because you won't ask dumb questions you could have learned in the course. And so that stretched out for a while. So I didn't get pummeled, just all day, every day doing consultations, and spread it out. They're happy because they got all this information and became professional speakers. So that was a long one. And then probably the biggest moneymaker was my mentor program, which still runs today. I have this enormous mansion here in Virginia Beach, and people actually come in and spend an immersion weekend, actually live in the house with me. And it's a
Huh.
year-long program where they have one-on-one access to me and my entire staff who I've trained. Plus they get a scholarship to my school, which is the only licensed dedicated internet and digital marketing school in the US, probably the world, but I have to say the US. And so it's very unique in that, and also they pay an entry fee, but they don't pay any big money unless they make big money. Then I
Ah,
get a percentage of it that's capped.
I love it.
Where people
Mm.
at my level were charging 50 or 100 grand up front and
Yeah.
then disappear and never talking to you. They could care if you're successful or not. So mine's been running for now 26 years with no lawsuits, nobody bad mouthing me online because they know I'm not going to disappear on them because I want. So my cap is 50,000. So they pay a $9,000 entry fee, and I'll even finance that for them, and then $50,000 on the back end out of their profits. They have to make money for me to get any more money. So that's been the longest running, most unique ever in the field of internet and digital marketing mentoring.
I love it, dude. I just took a note on there. I'm thinking, okay, so if 9K entry plus 50K on the back end, we'll see how I can contribute to that, because that's interesting. I like the idea of people coming to your house, having that immersive experience, and having somebody to hold them reliable over the span of a year, and be in contact with you. It's cool as hell, man. What's the sales process
and we
for
have
that
our own
like?
TV studio here too. So
Ah,
we
nice. You
use
can
their
film the
marketing
content
videos.
for them. Yes.
We edit them when they go home. Then we get all the graphics. We
Oh, that's cool,
professionally edit
man.
them and send
Oh,
them.
yeah.
I was at some of the places I speak. Just one of them was $1,500 at the special price. You know, they come here. We had one guy shoot 43 shorts here, and we edited them all just in part of the deal. You know, so the value is so tremendous. I always triple dog dare anybody to put their program up against mine, where line for line, nobody will. They'd be embarrassed.
Oh shit, I do. I love that. What's the sales process look like? Is it a Facebook ad to walk me through how you sell that exactly? I think that'll
That
wrap
one
this up
is just
nicely.
now all email. I mean, I'm so well known in my market. You know, some people have known me 10 years and they finally joined because, I mean, I had a lady last week. She's known me 25 years and she was just now ready. That's why you should always keep it, you know, keep good stead, helping people, and then they just come in. So for my email list, or I might do webinars once in a while. I've been doing a lot of online summits lately, and I quit doing them for a while because the format was terrible. You had to sit there all day long to see what you wanted to see all week. And
Ah,
who has
yeah.
time for that? You know, there's that lady online. Ain't nobody got no time for that.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. So what'd you do
do
instead?
and then also, I was kind of getting screwed because I have the 100,000 emails, and all the other speakers, some of them were kind of ripoffs in that they promised to promote and then they wouldn't. They figure, well, we'll just suck off everybody
Yeah.
else's emails. So I quit doing them. But now the new format is that everything's pre-recorded, and then on Monday, the videos are released for free, those speakers for that day, and people can watch them for free for 2 days. And then on Tuesday, same thing. Those speakers are released and people can watch them for 2 days, so they can pick and choose who they want to watch. And then if they want everything, they can just buy for 67 or 97 bucks all the recordings, watch them anytime they want. So I've been doing a lot of those. And then I always win the affiliate contest, so I get money from that. I
Yeah,
get affiliate
nice.
commissions, and then people join my stuff. I don't have an affiliate commit. I don't have to pay the promoters of that an
Yeah.
affiliate commission when people join the big stuff. So I pay 20% on the 9,000 as a affiliate commission. So 1,800 bucks if somebody refers it. And then I don't have to pay that when I participate in a summit. So I get people from that. And then we still have people buying I have a special mentor program for professional speakers and just all kinds of stuff. So I got products, and that's another tip for your viewers. Have things in all price ranges, because you cannot predict how much money somebody has to spend. And what's really hit me in the head with this, my girlfriend's friend from high school's great grandfather had some big industrial thing back in the early 1900s. She, as one of the great grandchildren, still gets $100,000
A month.
a
Damn.
month from that inheritance. Just one of the great grandchildren. You know, she buys everything. She buys $7,000 sweaters. She doesn't think about it. So I have anything from $9 to 59,000, and so you just don't know. But if you don't have things in different price ranges, then it's your fault if people were ready to spend more money, but you didn't give them the chance. All right.
Yeah.
So, and it's relatively easy to do if you have a coaching program. And if people say, well, I didn't go to the coaching federation. Neither did I. Remember, I went to 5-person small town where we had common sense. And so people say, well, you must have had a PhD in structural design. No, the farmers where I came from had common sense. So I just show you things how to do it in a logical order. So if you have a mouth, you already have a high-end program. So you don't have to have a mansion, right, to start off or anything. But coaching people, they will pay for unique experiences. See, so whatever you can do, you don't have to use your house. You can use hotels. I mean, coaching and mentoring are some of the big money things, and it makes a really close knit connection with the people, and then they refer you. So, and
Yes.
being nice to people. A lot of the people who couldn't afford me referred me because I was nice to them, and these divas wouldn't even talk to them. You know, in fact, one time I'm at the back of the room, nobody knows who I am, and this guy was standing next to me. God, honestly, God looked like he was homeless. He had these weird clothes on, feathers hanging, his teeth were bad, and he's asking me all kinds of questions, and I'm answering them no problem. It's just as good as anybody that's all, you know, $8,000 suit. And so at the end of the day, he bought 2 of my mentor programs, one for himself and one for his assistant. And he's a best-selling author in the field of tarot, you know.
Oh,
No,
interesting. Yeah, right. And you would have missed him if you were like all the other divas, as you call them,
yeah, but
right?
nobody would talk to him. And
Huh.
another thing is, this will probably surprise you, is eBay. eBay, I was a power seller there for years, but it was only for lead generation. And so
Ah.
this book, and I almost quit. I almost messed up, Kyle. A guy bought this book for $2, brand new. It's a $24.95 book, and he wanted me to autograph. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I wasted my time with this crap. And I'm like crying to myself. He ended up buying 2 of the speaker systems, one for
Huh.
himself and one for his kid, $2,000.
There you
So
go. No kidding.
you just have to put out lots of good stuff, service people after the sale, quality
Yeah.
products, and it'll pay off in the long run. Even though, all right, $2 for this book, but it turned into 2,000. I sold a bunch of them for $2. It didn't. So what? I live the life I want. If I don't like you, take a hike. I don't have to deal with you. You know, so it's just a beautiful lifestyle business too. This business.
Yeah, damn right, dude. Yeah, man. So you walked us through pretty much a lot of the things we need to be able to have a product that makes money online, and how you put it, a website that makes money. And I feel like we've got a solid plan that we can walk through in terms of the SEO, which is, you know, hopefully it works, but probably won't. Then the paid ads, then to the not necessarily getting them on your email list right away, but moving them to the next stage by keeping them on the platform, whether it be Facebook or whatever, or Pinterest if they're female, and you
And
know,
it's
7 times
cheaper that
more
way.
money.
Cheaper to keep them on there. Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly. And then you move them on your email list, and then you look at it as a stair step process to the high ticket, or you just how do you look at that escalation process?
Yeah, I don't, you know, I've never created a quote funnel in my whole life. I laugh at these funnel people sell funnels for $400 a month, and everybody's going broke, and 2 people made money, and they're, you know, making a big deal out of it.
Like the 2 comma club, man. It's like they've got like 200,000 ClickFunnels users or something, and it's like they've got, I don't know, like 200 people that have made $1 million, and they're
Yeah,
like bragging about it. They're all excited about it. It's like, well, dude, look at the percentage on that. It's like 0.005% success rate if you really break the
exactly. Yeah.
numbers down. So
So all I do is I go back to that one sentence business plan. I just keep pumping out quality products that people actually want. Well, how do I know if they want them? Well, keyword research, but when you get 100,000 emails on your list, people ask you questions all the time, and you say, oh, everybody wants to know about
mm,
QR codes. I think I'll do something on QR codes. So quality products, reasonable price, so I don't gouge them. So they buy one thing and they never come back. Oh man, that was good, but boy, he charges a fortune. No, reasonable price, so they come back for 24 years. All right, and keep
right, yeah, no
yeah,
shit.
and and then I service them after the sale. If they have a question, I answer it. You know, I'm lightning fast. I like to give your folks a thing that's really done great for me. It's called How to Automate Your Business. I know you did a podcast on automation, but this is all the tips and tricks that I use. I've handled as many as 150,000 subscribers and 60,000 customers with one part-time temp person.
I
All
love
right.
that,
And
man.
say,
Oh,
how
that's
do you
right
do
up
that?
my alley, dude. So how do
Yeah,
we
no,
get that?
yeah, I don't do that anymore because I got so much money. I want to hire people and get some help. But just one of the tips in the book, I'll actually give you this one. It's if you're on a PC, it's called short keys. And we actually estimated it one time, Kyle, and not any hype, that over the years it saved me 8 million keystrokes. 8 million keystrokes. Saved me carpal tunnel syndrome. All right. And all that time, instead of fighting with my computer, I spent with customers and prospects and servicing people where the money is, not fighting with my computer. So short keys, it's a macro program. So I can type 2 letters or a letter and a number, and it'll type in War and Peace as an answer to a question. When you have 100,000 emails, you get the same questions a lot. So I can, instead of going and finding the answer and kind of where did I put it and copy it and paste it, where now my whole train of thought is shot, I just hit boom, boom, and there's the answer, and you get answered in 2 seconds, and you think, my God, this guy lives on the computer, which I kind of do, but nobody answers you that fast. And that's called short keys. Now for the Mac, it's called Keyboard Maestro. So you make all these macros, and then you force your employees to use it too. Why should you pay for them to make typos and to take forever to do something that should take 2 seconds? So this book that I'm going to give you, How to Automate Your Business, is full of these tips and tricks that are right in front of you. It's all cheap or free. That program is like 20 bucks, short keys. So, and I've been using it for 19 years. All right. So, go to screwthecommute.com, which is my podcast, /automate free. And you can get a copy of this book totally free. We sell it for like 27 bucks, but it's free because I don't need anybody in Canada being pissed off at me. So
Right on, dude. I love it, dude. I really love it. I love the automation aspect of it. What we're
yeah,
using AI for would blow your freaking mind for automating everything. It's incredible. One of the things
yeah,
we do with
okay.
AI is to generate
It's not like
podcasts.
you're into AI or something
Yeah,
with
not at all. Hey, no, no, never.
agent
One of the things I'm
AI.
using it for is to generate guests for the podcast, and I've got it so that I've got a program on my computer called Macro Recorder. I think it's for PC and Mac. And what it does is you record your keyboard, you record your mouse, and it'll automatically replay it as many times as you want. So what I
Well,
do is
did you know that Zoom just came out with Zoom clips? I just did a
yeah, I
podcast
saw that. I saw
today.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I usually use Camtasia, which is kind of the gold standard of screen capture.
No,
But
no, no.
anyway,
What this does, it's not for screen capture only. It records your mouse and yes, I got to explain it better. You're right. Records your mouse and keystrokes, and then actually plays it back on the computer using the same mouse strokes and keystrokes. So it doesn't just record it; it actually plays it
it
back.
doesn't record it as a video. It
Yeah,
actually plays
exactly.
it
Not as a
back.
video,
Oh,
but yeah, you see what I mean? So what I
what's
do
it
is I
called?
take it over to ChatGPT and I'll have it, I'll have the keystrokes recorded. Find me podcast guests. There's a lot more that goes into it than that, but I'll have it so it finds me podcast guests, and then the macro recorder goes back and types the same thing with a small difference every time, so it doesn't have the same ones coming back up. And I just leave it all night. I come back and there's like 1,000 fucking podcast guests that have
Oh,
found me.
you should. Yeah, but I hate to burst your bubble, but see, I'm not really sitting here. I'm an AI, you know.
Yeah, dude, me neither. You know what the funny thing is? In like 5 years, or maybe even less,
AI will
that
be
will be
interviewing
that will
another
be a very real thing. And who knows? We could take all the interviews we've done, and if we'll be able to have an AI version that just knows how I ask questions, knows how you ask questions, and we can have an automated podcast that automatically distributes
Yeah,
value.
it won't
AI
need me at
talking
all.
to AI, dude. Love it, man. So, brother, thank you for being here, man. We had a blast together. Anything else you want to add before we kick this off?
Well, I just encourage people, folks, grab that book, screwthecommute.com/automate free, but then get in, if the lowest risk thing to get into nowadays is digital products, because they're 97% profit, and you got to kind of try to mess up at 97% profit. I mean, you could write 10 ebooks, and if only one of them hits big, you still didn't spend anything to do it. You know, it's all digital. So get into digital marketing and test and learn, because just don't get sucked into the high priced stuff right off the bat, because you'll lose your shirt because you don't have enough experience. So listen to podcasts like this and get as much knowledge as you can, and keep your costs low and your returns high, and you can't really fail.
Words of wisdom, man. Dear Tom, thank you for being here, man. We'll talk soon, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, brother. Ciao.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that podcast episode. And if you want to get a free copy of my book, go to kylesbook.com and you can get a copy there. I'll talk with you soon.